Hi, y'all. Welcome back to Date Car Pod. I'm Jenna, and I think this show is rotten to the core from all of the things that have passed down from before. All the apples coming before. I split this fucking show in symmetrical lines, and what I found is kind of scary and just makes me want to die. Welcome to the Fantasy Suites and Men Tell All episode, everyone. And if you're not questioning everything, then you haven't been paying attention. And to help me continue to spiral through this week, I am so excited to welcome back to the podcast my best friend. Welcome back, Epiphany.
Thanks, Jenna. I'm so happy to be here. Like, oh man, I have so many thoughts and I'm just excited, so excited to go through all of this with you because whew, it's been a season.
It really has been, and you and I were so excited about it, and we have a lot of thoughts and opinions on it. I mean, I am still a Jen stan, and I think the show fucked her over in so many ways. She's also making some choices, but as a 26-year-old will do, and we have thoughts on that. But at the base level, the show just really screwed the pooch on this one, in my opinion. What are your thoughts?
Oh, I feel the same way. And it's very interesting to me because I feel like not enough people are talking about this. There has just been so many things wrong. Like, the thing is, like, normally there's at least some balance, right? Like, if the lead isn't as strong, you've got good cast members, right? If the cast members aren't that strong, you've got a good lead. Or at the very least, if both aren't that good, you've got good production, right? They're crafting a good story, you've got good drama, it's still entertaining, it's still good to watch, right? They are just not firing on any cylinders this season. Like it's just I love Jen, but I feel like they're just not doing her any favors.
Mhm.
And my big takeaway is that everyone on the show should not have been on the show and they should have all been in therapy instead. Like, not a single person was ready to be on the show. And again, this is something that happens time and time again, but at least we get good television out of it, right? Or
Mhm.
at least gets people who think they're ready, right? Like they
Right.
think they're ready for marriage.
Yeah.
So you get to see that journey. But
Which I think is Grant is the only one, to be honest. Like I feel like Grant was the only one that I kind of felt like, oh, he really seems like a family man and like wants to do whatever. So like the show for once made the correct choice
mhm.
for a lead, in my opinion. Obviously we'll see how it goes, but I was like, yeah, no, Grant's a great option. I feel like he could get engaged and get married from this.
Totally agree. Yeah, I think he's a great option. I will say though, after watching Fantasy Suites, it does make me wonder like why Jonathan wasn't in contention. I think when you look at her final three and how that ended up, it just seemed like a no-brainer that he could have been a potential bachelor. Um, he's very handsome, he's very charming. And that's one of the things I always take notes when I know I'm coming on the pods just so I
Yeah.
can, be ready. And one of the things that I noticed is that I felt like he's the only one who truly felt like he fell in love with Jen. Like
Yeah.
out of all the men, even though they were quicker to say I love you, except for Marcus, which is a completely other story, but um, he gave off the impression that he genuinely liked Jen, enjoyed her company. I'm a big proponent of relationships based in friendship, like, because at the end of the day, like, if you don't at least have a friendship, then what are we doing? And I
Right.
thought they had just such realistic chemistry. It almost reminded me a little bit of Joey
And
and Rachel's
Kelsey? Oh,
dynamic.
Rachel. Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
But
Oh,
the
it's so
difference is
true.
that Joey was a Joey, but the difference was that they only had friendship, right? Like they didn't
Mhm.
really
Mhm.
have romantic love.
Yeah.
And I think that Jonathan and Jen could have gotten there. I
Yeah.
really do. If she wasn't so already all in on Marcus and Devin. Like I felt so bad for Jonathan. I know we're kind of like skipping
No, it's
ahead and
good. This is
everything.
good. It's two episodes, so we have to just give our
Okay.
opinions.
All right. So what I felt so bad for Jonathan when he left, where he was kind of like putting on the blame on himself. He was like, "Ah, if only I
Yeah.
could have gotten there. I was holding back, da 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 da." And I'm like, honey, if only you knew how much Marcus was holding back. And she kept on pushing him through, just trying to pull whatever she can out of him.
Like seriously, she was so all in on these other men already,
Yeah.
and like
Yeah.
to her
He had no chance.
detriment. Like
Yeah.
she's not gonna, unless they did something crazy, they weren't gonna
Mhm.
get yeah, it was just really, it's sad to see, and he clearly still really into her, and like my like hopes are either she comes out as gay or she goes back with Jonathan, like pulls a Hanny Brown, Tyler Cameron type
Please.
thing.
Oh,
Like the chemistry was there. He was like
man.
drooling when she came back on stage and like yeah, talking about her dresses and stuff. And she's just like, and
Who doesn't want a man who is ranking your favorite outfits in his head?
um,
Oh my gosh. I mean, the way he looked at her when she came out, the man was like smitten
yeah.
still to this day.
Hmm.
So yeah, I don't, and that's why it's like I love Jen, but I'm just like, girly, girly, you talk so much about these past toxic relationships, and I'm sorry, but you're still falling into those patterns.
Hmm.
You have not fully healed from those relationships, and you're still picking the same kind of men.
No.
And when I saw the promo for the finale, when her brother was like, again with these unavailable, emotionally unavailable men, I said, honey, your family clocked you.
Yeah.
They clocked you.
They're like, I think you might need a little more time. It's like, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. No, and it, to her like credit, the entire season she's been like aware of it, and is like, but then there's two different. I mean, there's a thing about being aware of it, and then there's
Mm-hmm.
changing your behavior on it, and like who's. I mean, listen, I'm chronically single. Like I can't speak to how you're supposed to do it, but we've all been there. It's a canonical event. I feel like in our life where we just continue to like do
Yeah.
that, and she's seeking avoidant type people because she doesn't think she's worthy of love. Her dad fucked her up in all these ways, and then and it's like such a bitter sword because like you seek out men like that too, or just people like that rather, who perpetuate that expression of love that you're used to,
Mm-hmm.
who make you fight for it, and oh my God, it's just upsetting. It's just upsetting. But she also was given a really shitty bunch of men, and we cannot go another second without just talking about the elephant in the room as we go into like these other dates,
Mm-hmm.
Devin's and Marcus's. It's so funny. I feel like I was having like a mental breakdown on TikTok today because I keep seeing TikToks from people with like thousands and thousands of likes from people being like, "Oh my God, like let's talk about the hotties and the look at these like great final two that Jen has." Or like having weird discourse about it where they're like, "You know what? They're not like us. They're not screaming at their TV because one person is maybe an SA like like has allegations of that. The other one's MAGA because they're just like, it is a little sus that Marcus is like not saying I love her, but love to you to her, and then but Devin and blah blah blah. And I'm just like, there's just two different nations. Like and these aren't even like Karens. These are our peers who are just
It's really
completely.
strange. And you know what, too? I mean, and part of me is like, oh, would I be looking at this season any differently had I
I
not
wanted to
known this
ask. Yeah.
information?
Mm-hmm.
And you know what, Jenna? I don't think so.
Mm-hmm.
Because when I look, this is the thing. For people who don't know me, I am a romance girly to my heart. Like I love rom-coms. I love reading romances. The thing that sells me the most on Bachelor Bachelorette is the romance, is the love. That's why I was a Tyler Hannah stan. A
Mm-hmm.
love story for the ages. Okay? That's why I love Joey. His whole season was lover boy energy. That man, I would have believed it if he said he was in love with all six, like his final six. Because I couldn't figure out who he was picking.
So
You
true.
know,
So
the
true.
way that man looks at women, beautiful. Like a man written by women, you know?
That's it. It literally. Oh my
And
God.
that is not the vibes I get from, and even like thinking back to Charity,
Yeah.
Dotton was so obsessed with her. Joey was so obsessed. Like you could believe that these men really were falling in love with her. And these men, I don't believe them. I don't believe Devin when he says he's falling in love with her. He's in love with her. I don't believe Marcus when he says he feels strongly about her. I don't believe them.
Mm-hmm.
I really don't. And to be honest, I don't know if I believe Jen when she says how she feels about them. I feel like Jen, and I know she struggles with. I'm not trying not too hard on Jen. I'm really not trying to
Mm-hmm.
be hard on Jen. I know she struggles with emotions. I totally get it.
Right.
But it's really hard for me to believe that she feels very deeply for them. I mean, she didn't seem upset to let Jeremy go, to let Jonathan go. It was
Not a
just
single tear. And I wondered, I was like, last night I was kind of like, is she just about to have a breakdown and that's why she's like not crying? Or is she compartmentalizing it a certain way? Or is she, or yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't know. And then, like, obviously to my favor of me hoping she, like, eventually realizes she doesn't want to date men exclusively. I'm like, yes, continue. This is
continue. Yeah.
perfect. I'm just going through the motions. These men are nothing to me other than
Mhm.
placeholders.
I know you love it.
But obviously, like, that's maybe not the reality. And yeah, so I totally agree. And it's like she's like also kind of just going through the motions of it, and that just sucks because I agree with you. Like, I think it just gives the show sometimes a bad rap when it ends up being with these types of like finales with like people who are just like not there. I totally agree. If I really didn't know the context, I still would literally be so mad at Devin. He's giving Greg Grippo, which everyone knows I fucking hated when that shit happened.
Literally in my notes, I said this is giving Katie and Greg.
It's, oh my
Why
god.
are you on the show?
And stop trying to manipulate the lead who's like trying to just be like, listen, buddy, I can't fucking tell you. Okay, like give it a fucking rest. Are you dumb? Sorry, I don't mean to be mean, but like
No.
read between the lines. Like clearly I have feelings for you. And also fuck you because it doesn't matter because he's like I just feel like I'm an option. Yes. Yeah, that's literally the show. I
He's like,
can't.
I think I'm an option. I think I'm not the one. I'm one of. I'm like, yes, honey, you're one of three. Yes, that's the show.
Good
I was
job.
literally, it's funny because it dawned on me after seeing this a time, because this is not something that, this is not a new narrative,
No,
right?
it's not just Jen's season. It's yeah.
We've seen this happen a lot. And I was talking to Ash Talks Batch about this, and I was like, I've realized that almost every Bachelorette season, we run into a situation like this because
Mm,
men are too fucking insecure to handle the fact that they are not in control in a relationship. They
mm,
don't like the fact that a woman has their fate in their hands.
mm.
And the ones who have the biggest issue with it are the ones who either don't get chosen, or if they get chosen, they don't stay with the lead for long because they cannot handle it. And I would say most bachelorettes are able to manage that quite well, right? Look at Hannah Brown and Luke. Eventually she took the power back, took
Mhm.
control of her narrative.
Mhm.
Look at Charity and what is that man's name who found out it was like Xavier.
Oh yeah, you found out
Found
he
out
was a cheater.
she
Yeah.
had a huge fear about some partner cheating on her. He finally reveals she took the power back. And I feel like what I haven't seen with Jenn is she hasn't taken back control of her narrative. These men have taken her power away from her. You've got Devin, who basically forced her hand and made her admit that she loved him, which is what Greg couldn't successfully do with Katie, hence why Greg fucking had to leave.
Yeah.
And then you've got Marcus. Never in my life will you find me telling a man I love him first. I'm sorry. And he can't even say it back.
He goes, "I'll try my best."
And he made it to the. I'm sorry. Any other bachelorette, that's why Rachel Lindsay got a lot of shit for what she did to Peter. She was like, you gotta go. You
Oh.
gotta go. You're not ready. So that's the thing with Jenn. Like, Jenn is not, I feel like she is on the fucking Bachelor, and these
Yeah.
men
Mhm.
are holding all the cards, and she's not able to be in control of her story.
Mhm.
And I feel for her because again, that met like it's interesting because in Bachelor seasons, we don't see this as frequently.
No, it's true. The women are a lot more, and they're a lot more in control. And like Peter's season was like a crazy example of that. Like the women were
Yes.
controlling his ass from the start to finish because
Uh-huh.
he had mommy issues. And if a woman cried, he said, "I'll do whatever you want me to do," and it worked. Like it, well, it didn't work, but anyway, I digress. But
No, but you're onto something, Jenna, because I
yeah,
noticed the same thing. Like when the reverse happens on Bachelor,
yeah,
the girl almost always gets picked. Look
yeah.
at Cassie and Colton. Look
Mhm.
at
She's like, "I'm gonna
eventually
leave." Yeah.
uh-huh,
Mhm.
and look at Susie and Clayton.
Oh,
As soon as the girl is like, you know what? I don't know about this. I'm uncomfortable. The
oh.
men say, fuck it, I'm blowing it all up. I want you.
Oh god, it's so true. Fuck, I love that so much. And like Jen and the Mental all this is where I still hold out a lot of great hope for her because she was like when she was talking about how great it is to be the first Asian American lead. Just had that
Mm-hmm.
little moment with her. She took time to be like, I want everyone to know that the patriarchy really is
Yes.
heavily influenced in my culture,
Yes.
and I know I'm ruffling a lot of feathers because I'm even just kissing people on camera and
Yes.
doing all
Mm-hmm.
sorts of things, which I think I'm not the right person to speak about how like the nuance of that community, but I was like, I love that she took a second. I think she just like she is so smart and she does know what's happening. And I mean, frankly, I'm projecting, but I think she regrets a lot of it. I think she's like embarrassed, probably, as my projection, and her being like, I fell victim to these toxic men. Wink,
Yes.
wink. I am telling you guys, like, I know that I needed to stand up and I didn't stand up.
And you know what? It was giving me flashbacks to Gabby and Rachel's season because I think they were in a similar situation where their top three was full of men, especially poor Gabby. Two of her men was like, "Oh, I can't do this. Why have you been here the whole time then?" Right?
Mm,
So
so
and I
true.
think you know, and even poor Rachel, like she had to show up to her finale having broken off her engagement because she was with a fucking cheater, you
Mm-hmm.
know. So I'm hoping that I'm fingers crossed Jen shows up single to her finale because
Frankly, it's the
those men
only
don't deserve her.
acceptable option.
Those men don't deserve her, and she is a smart girl, you know. And I
Yeah.
think she just got wrapped up in it all, and she came there really wanting love, and you know she kind of I think she settled on those two quite early on
Yeah.
and then kind of closed herself off to any other guy because it was very interesting to me to see how Jeremy slid into that top four and I really wasn't expecting that. But then I
No.
was pleasantly surprised because I thought they had a really nice connection.
Yeah. No,
And
exactly. It was really great. And like I mean I guess there probably wasn't like I don't know what happened. It was so fucking confusing. It was so
yeah.
confusing. Me and Jasmine on Rose Noir last week were just like, how did we fucking get here? Like, and Jonathan's fine as hell, but like he was still the man that like had a bandage on his face and his ass out on night
Yeah.
one. Jeremy is like, I have a big cock, and she's like, what? He gets in a fight with some bro at the
I could never
car.
get over that. It
Yeah.
was really hard for me because
Yeah.
it's funny. One of the notes I took for mental law, I was like, Jeremy looks amazing.
Yeah.
Like the brown suit. I always he has some of the best style out of all the men on the season,
True.
maybe in general. Every time I saw him, I was like, you dress really well. I mean, for what I like in a man.
Right, yeah.
But he looked so handsome, and I'm like, I feel bad because I was like, I could never get over the fact that you got in a fucking fight over your sports car on the first night. I never forgot that.
Mm-hmm.
And you give like, and also it just again, I'm sorry, it screams overcompensating because he also is shorter than he appears. Like you expect him to be taller, but that man is like the same height as Jonathan and Marcus. Okay. So
Jen's medium king. Shout out to Jen. We loved that moment. I know I did. I was like, yeah, you loved Joey. He was a medium king, and
oh my Joey. God.
it's so
Saint
fucking
Joey.
funny.
I need
It's
to get
so
a
true.
picture of him framed.
Well, and then it's that's your when's your birthday?
May 26th. I'm a Gemini like Joey. Just
Oh,
saying.
see, exact, just saying. Okay, now writing that down. Okay, and listeners, of course, it's gonna be the photo of him with a boner.
You already know.
Or already know. I mean, I'll do a
That's
couple photos.
one thing about Joey. You knew he was attracted to all those girlies. Like he was not playing around.
Oh, so fucking good, dude. So oh my god, iconic. Yeah, like I don't want to be talking about the men's PPs, but if Joey's, we're talking about. But like speaking of the men's dinglings, Jen was like the morning after. She's like, everyone says
Ugh.
that Devin looks like Pete Davidson. Woman,
Who's
ma'am,
everyone? Who's
you
everyone?
said that once, and I hate you for it.
Mm.
And Pete Davidson should frankly sue.
The audacity.
It's Sue Devin for like defamation of character. You're walking around claiming to be me, but she's like, yeah, he's even better than Pete Davidson in all the ways.
Always. Mm. I'm sorry though, because I saw your poll. You were like,
Yeah,
how
I
many
need to
men do you think
know.
she fucked?
Yeah.
I don't know. It all those mornings were screaming sexless. Like I wouldn't be surprised if she slept with none of them. It was not. She did not look up. She woke like she woke up fully fucked. Like when Kelsey woke up after her date with Joey, I said, "Oh, they had fun last night."
Yeah.
Like
He
both
was
of
like,
their curls were all over the place.
wasn't she the one who was like lifting on counters and
Yeah,
stuff? Oh my
they were
god.
making breakfast together. He lifted her on the counter and started making out with her. You don't understand. You don't understand how that is just seared in my head.
I
You
know.
know,
I
even
feel like weren't you on last week's or
I
last
think I
year's
was.
fantasy suites? We time it perfectly every season.
Timed it perfectly. Timed it perfectly. Yeah, I'm not sure if she slept
Mm.
with all of them or any of
Well,
them, to be honest.
frankly, just put another fucking tack in my gay conspiracy board. Why don't you? Like, it's just at this point.
She
At this
needs to
point,
have a chat with Gabby Windy.
that's what I'm saying. Oh my God. And well, and congratulations to Stacy from Love is Blind season 5, some random woman she got with this man named Izzy. I didn't watch that
Mhm.
season. Today she just came out as a sapphic,
Oh,
as dating a woman.
that's
Um,
wonderful.
and I just again, me and Shannon were in the DMs all day today, just being like, "Oh my God, it's just we're just being fed more delusions about how women who go into these hyper heterosexual situations
Hmm.
can and will come out, given the right amount of brat and summer and
Mm-mm-mm.
whatever and rose, it will happen, and I'm very excited. So I don't know the woman, but I'm happy that she is now part of the community, and I respect that. So yeah, dude, okay, that's a good point. I guess to be honest, I was kind of like disassociating, so I don't really
Hmm.
know my opinion on whether she fucked any of them, because I was like just kind of losing it. Because as we go into the Marcus of it all, like, never, okay, we've had, and these are all alleged, of course. I tried to do some more research, listeners, today, like, has there been any more updates and things like that, and I haven't gotten anything back yet, but everything is alleged. But when you have a lot of different people coming forward, it's doesn't bode well. And the thing is, and I'm sorry to him for this, but the show has had a really horrific track record of these situations. So
Yeah.
it's got to the point where, like, they're batting zero for like 100, and like you can't, it's just it's rough. And the fact that we had to experience a fantasy suite,
Hmm.
um frankly, is like, it's like really upsetting.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. And the way I look at it too is that there is no benefit for anyone to come out with these allegations,
Exactly.
like it's not the kind of notoriety that you want. And it's very brave for someone to come and speak their truth, because truly it's out of concern for Jen, so she knows who she's getting into a relationship with.
Mhm. Mhm.
So yeah, I always believe women first
Mhm.
until otherwise. But
Mhm.
um it's hard to watch, especially since you can just tell that she has like this deep connection with him. And again, I don't know if it goes back to just like her being attracted to emotionally unavailable men, because it's like, go on honey, give me nothing. um but I don't know.
Woo!
I never trusted him from jump because he's in the military. I said, anyone who's a career military man, you would have gone home night one, honey. I'm sorry.
Literally, he's folding up his travel flag to put in his bag. Did you see that?
I sure did. I almost threw up a little bit.
Yeah, I'm like, this man's a war criminal, and we're
Yep.
like putting him on this thing, and I cannot. So yeah, I was immediately, like, genuinely, I'm so delusional sometimes. Like, I mean, obviously I don't consume spoilers and like all these things, and I was just like, I don't have to worry about this. And then I should have fucking known. I should have fucking known.
Hmm.
But yeah, I never liked him from the jump, and his behavior has just been so fucking weird and dodgy, and like, again, projecting, but I'm kind of like, well, yeah, because I think he knows he's fucked, right? And I think like, I always hope for rehabilitation. I always hope for people to get help they need in various different ways. And so, like, he just, to your point, you said at the beginning of the episode, none of these men were ready for this. And he, especially, even if we remove a lot of that context that we think we
He's
know,
not ready.
he's not ready, clearly. And he has a lot of fucking wounds to heal from his childhood and the
Mhm.
way he treats women. And this is just like case in point. It's just like so upsetting. Oh God, I want to root so badly for just at least one person.
You can't. You can't.
What?
And it really stuns me time and time again how dumb people are, because it's like, if you know that you have, like, it's like, do you not know you've got questionable social media activity? Do you not think that the person that you sexually assaulted wouldn't come out? Like, I just, why do you think it's smart for you to go on national television? Like, if you don't want your skeletons to be dug up.
And listen, folks, like, go to so there's a Reddit link. DM me if you haven't seen it. I think I have it in my highlight, called Shitty Men, because there was a lot. But like, it was such a varied sources of things. Like,
Hmm.
he allegedly knowingly gave somebody an STD. He might have like he's like emotionally abused people. He's gaslit. He's like ghosted people tons and tons of times, which is like not a crime, but like it's just I don't know. You just start. The thing is why I like to leaning towards like being like, oh my god, is that you just it was so many different angles it was coming at,
Mm-hmm.
not just like one person. Even that still is valid, and like you said, like we believe until it's like proven otherwise. But it's like it just
He's
and he
got
just like it's just that type of guy, and I'm just like Jen, and he but the thing he put it on so thick at first, I guess, but actually, you know what? No, not really. He just was always so like every week it was like I feel bad for crying. I'm supposed to be a man. Like
I know it's very what he's doing has been very interesting to me. Um because he does this thing where he's like, I don't feel comfortable opening up. I don't know how I feel. But then when he does open up, he gets really emotional. And then I'm kind of like, are you being authentic here or are you weaponizing tears? I mean, he got really choked up when his sister showed up. And I think it just really comes down to, like you said, he has so much unresolved trauma. And unfortunately, he has taken it out on women.
mm-hmm.
And now in a way, like now he's taking out on Jenn in a different way. And it's like you need to deal with your shit person privately.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and again, it goes back to too, like, why are people, specifically men, going on the show if you're not ready to get down on one knee? Like, I don't understand it. Like, why come on here? Why all of a sudden when you're the final three, you're like, oh my god, there's other men here. No shit. There's been other men here the whole time.
Well, I guess like my initial like response was like for fame or whatever, but like shit's not going well in that department either. But to your point, I did think last night I think I had a couple people DM me this. I think it's similar to a couple of the seasons you mentioned before, but and I guess Cassie's a great example. They didn't think they'd get that far, and now they're
Mhm.
panicking and they're doing everything they can to get the lead to break up with them so that they don't look like an asshole. And jokes on them. We've been knowing they were an asshole the whole time. But like I guess the whole other section of America who's watching this is like twirling their hair
Mhm.
will have some kind of like justice for Marcus account. I don't fucking know.
Oh god, I hope not.
Like,
I
oh,
hope
what a
not.
sad, sad, innocent boy, and Jen just did not understand. Blah,
I think
blah,
also
blah.
and I no, I think you make a really good point, and it's funny. So when I was struggling to watch the fantasy suites, I was watching clips of like previous seasons of just try I was just like, is it in my head or do I feel like these men do not like her? And I went back to Gabby and Jason, who I always thought was a very interesting pairing because he was also someone who got far and was like, I can't get there. But I feel like he handled it very differently. Like I feel, and I also think Gabby handled it in a way where she was kind of like, all right, you finally told me up front that you can't get there, so you need to go home, right? I'm not going to convince you to stay here.
Mhm.
And I think at least with Jason, it felt like you could tell how uncomfortable he was in this setting.
Yeah.
And it was very clear. Like he talked very openly about therapy, about anxiety, about like he was very and he was just like, I can't suspend this disbelief. Like I can't
No, I
just
remember that. You're right. It was like
it
yeah, it felt like, "Oh no, no, you're actually kind of being like real with us right now." Like you signed
yes.
up for it and you were like, let's roll the dice." And
Uh-huh.
now I've gotten to this point where I actually do kind of have feelings for this person, but and I do want to settle down, but like this is not the location for this. Like it is always funny when they
Yes.
suddenly have that realization like, "Wait, no, this is actually a terrible idea. I should not
He
get
straight
engaged."
up like they had a conversation. He straight up went like, you don't really know me and I don't really know you. And like I can't sit here and say that I'm going to fall in love with you when we just don't know each other. And I just he's like, I cannot I cannot be my authentic self in this setting. The cameras are screwing me up, the mics, like I just and he was like, I can't, like I've tried as hard as I could and I can't anymore. And that at least my thing is like there's a level of authenticity there.
Mhm.
I feel like like Marcus is like breadcrumbing her and like he's still leading her on and he's still staying. Like, why don't you leave if you don't know? At this point, sir, you're down to the final two. Why are you still here?
what are you gonna say to her family next week? What are you gonna like?
Yeah.
It's upsetting. So you're right. Like back to our earlier thesis statement. If we did not know everything else,
Yes.
this is a bad situation. It is
It
not
still sucks.
not a recipe for success for this relationship.
I'm a strong
Oh,
proponent. I was like, any successful heterosexual relationship, the man has to love more, always.
you've said this before. I
Always.
remember this.
That is my through line. And again, I mean, hey, I am a single gal, been single for a while, but that's because I have yet to find my man who will love me more. Okay. And that is the key. A man needs to look at you like you just hung the moon and the stars. And like you, I'm sorry, it just has to be that way because unfortunately, men are trash.
Exactly. No, that's the thing. They're working at a deficit. So, like,
Yes.
in order for you to, like, yeah, to, like,
I
it,
hate the fact that Jen's essentially convincing these men to stay. Why, you are the bachelorette. Why are you begging this man, these men, both of them, to stay? Devin saying, "Oh, I know that I'm wanted, but I don't feel needed. I prefer to feel wanted than needed. I want to feel chosen. I don't want someone to feel like they need to have me. No, no, no. You want to have me around. You chose to have me in your life. You don't need
exactly.
me, but you want me.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm here."
That is a healthy sign of a relationship, like for me at least too. I don't want any kind of codependency, etc., etc.
And
It's
he's
like
full of
a desire.
contradictions, right? Because earlier in the episode, he goes, "Take all the time you need. I feel so secure in us. I'll be here waiting. I'm patient." To just flip around and all of a sudden be like, you know what? Let me fuck some shit up. Let me fuck with her a little bit.
It's so it's like it's not love to me. And like you have him like talking to Jesse and being like, "Yeah, I love her, but like basically only as much as she loves me." You know, like it's conditional. It's conditional on that. And listen, realistically, I get it. Like realistically, none of these people probably really love each other. How can they? But I don't like that. Like if that's the type of like energy you're bringing into a relationship, this is not for me. And so I just it's like so sad. And I have to point everyone back to I don't know how the season ends, but
Mhm.
Jenn for weeks before the premiere was playing Please 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 from Sabrina Carpenter on every like fucking TikTok and reel she did. And I have to believe and hope on hope that that means that something happens where she is
Uh,
like either leaves by herself or if she God for heaven bids fucking chooses one of these douche nozzles ends it soon because she's like no.
and don't get me started on the promos because they keep on talking about something that's never been done before.
Yeah,
Something
yeah.
that's never been done before is going to happen. And my gut, and I really hope my gut's wrong, is that she's going to propose to her
I
final
know. God,
pick.
that's
And
it's
I
either
swear to God, I
or.
will throw up if that happens. I was like, that is only, it's like furthering this narrative. This is
She has to
her
beg them to like oh my god, Epiphany, I'm gonna fucking die.
pick. I'm, I
I
just,
didn't even think about that. Oh god.
it's furthering this narrative. I cannot, the audacity of these men, it is just crazy. Like for Devin and Marcus to just make it about themselves. Like you have to prove to me how much you love me. You are not the bachelor.
Listen, bros, why don't you try taking a page from your other bro and keep the main thing the
The
main
main thing.
thing?
Thank you.
Okay? Like,
Thank you.
listen, he was right about one thing, he didn't do it at all, but
Yeah.
he was correct in that.
And it's so interesting to me because Jonathan, who unfortunately got let go, was the only person who was not like having these weird conversations with Jen. He was like, I want to prove to you how capable I am of a partner. He's like, I'll learn Vietnamese for our blended household. Like,
I know.
he,
And he's like, and I was like, oh my God, wait, blended household, you know? And then he's
yeah,
like, yeah, I'm half black. And I'm like,
which I had
oh,
no idea.
I didn't know. I'm ignorant as fuck. I didn't know.
I knew that he didn't seem like he was 100% white to me. Like, I
Right.
was
Yeah,
like, I
of
feel
course.
like he's mixed, but I couldn't put my finger on it. I was like, oh, your dad is real light skinned. Like,
Yeah, exactly. So yeah. So God bless them. But we'll see him in paradise. Yeah. So let's talk about the mental all a little
yeah,
bit,
yeah,
and
yeah.
then we'll wrap up our thoughts on how the season will end. But yeah, like. it was a showing of 13 men. I counted. I was like, I can't believe they just got 13 of
Yeah,
them. But
it
you
seemed
know
a little
what?
slim. I'm like, where are all the men? Like
Yeah.
Austin wasn't there. I loved Austin. Where was he?
Exactly. Like, let the
Yeah.
man speak. He didn't even get any fucking. I just like. I have no idea who Ricky is. Like, he's handsome, but I
Oh my
was like,
God. Who are you?
who are you? I've never seen you in my life.
Yeah.
Um, let's take a moment to talk about our boy Brett. And I was like, man, a roller coaster of emotions. At first, I was like, oh shit, they actually brought him. Like
Mhm.
because you and I, we've worked on Roses for Everybody for
Mhm.
2+ years, and I didn't think that. I actually kind of was like, oh, they're just gonna fucking ignore him like they always fucking do. And they
Mhm.
brought him there. He got a great round of applause. People love him. And then we got this whole like segment about how hot and cool he is. Epiphany, tell me your thoughts.
Okay. This is I this show confuses me.
Yeah,
They confound me because I'm like, he's so hot, he's so cool. He got to show his fantastic personality. I mean, he was so funny. Okay.
naturally, just witty.
Naturally.
Like I was watching it over and over again. I don't think any of that was scripted. Like it was
No,
scripted to bring the tweets out
yes.
or whatever, but he led that like a fucking natural.
Great comedic timing when he was like, I don't do foot pics yet.
So
Very good, very good. I am shocked that he got a little segment. I'm like, oh, they're not completely ignoring how riled up the fan base was. I mean, I think Brett, I haven't looked at the numbers lately, but he was like the most followed guy
yeah,
for like
three
most of the season.
weeks.
Like
Yeah,
yeah,
three or
he was
four
like the
weeks.
third or fourth most followed guy for a while on Instagram. His following shot up. People were very excited for him. So they had to say something. I'm pissed that they didn't give him the hot seat. I mean, grocery store Joe got the hot seat when he was a night one person. I believe so.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I don't know, it's tough because it feels like they're just consistently using him for their own gain
Mm-hmm.
instead of just doing the right thing, which is casting bigger bodies, more than one person, and having them on the show for more than one episode. The fact that he left on night one is just such a shame. And they just continue to promote him. Like it's very, very strange. Like even today, they did like a joint post with him on their Instagram talking about Brat Summer is Brett Summer, which I love, but I'm also like, well, if you're announcing two people on Paradise, why don't you announce Brett on Paradise as well while you were at it? Like, weird.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure you're correct about Grocery Store Joe because I have memories of him being asked to go on Paradise. They brought him on the hot seat and they said, "Will you go to Paradise?"
Oh
Everyone
yeah.
loved you, and he did. And
Mhm.
um,
Was Dancing with the Stars before or
after
after
I think
Paradise?
after, yeah.
Okay.
But even then, it's like, oh my God, imagine being a
Oh
tall,
yeah, because he was
thin
with
white
Kendall.
man.
Yeah. Hmm.
Like Lord have mercy. But oh my God, you're right. He was with Kendall. Did he go on Paradise twice?
Yeah, Kendall
God,
was I. Oh, I hate to admit this, but I was a huge Kendall Joe shipper. I like
yeah,
loved them
yeah,
so much. I was very much obsessed with their relationship.
yeah.
When they
No,
broke up, I took it a little hard, but
yeah. Oh,
anyways, yeah, he went on Paradise twice
that's
and
so
got
crazy.
engaged. Well, was he ever engaged to Kendall?
Who's to say? But you're the
I,
Stan, so
oh,
fuck you.
Clear. I mean, I hung up my stand hat a long time ago, so
Like I
it's
cannot go back there anymore.
I cannot. It's been replaced with the Joey Kelsey stand hat. So
Amen. No, it's so funny. And it's like, God, the audacity of this man who's a cop lover to just like
ugh,
continue to have a platform.
talk about Blue Lives Matter.
I
There's good cops out
cannot.
there. Shut the fuck up.
But yeah, so yeah, no, I agree with everything you said about Brett. It was such a roller coaster for me because part of me was like, hell yeah, I'm loving
Hmm.
this. And like we have to like say like it because it's never happened, like that was really like I do think like the representation of having him have a segment was really important
Hmm.
and the segment was about how hot he was.
That
Like
was
it
nice.
like it was I was like, "Oh my God, am I enjoying this? Like am I feeling pride?" Like yeah, like and it wasn't like no one was pandering. I mean, the whole
Yes,
concept is pandering, right?
of course.
But like no one was just like quiet and being like, "Oh, I guess he's kind of hot." Everyone was like losing their fucking minds over it. Jesse was like jacking off on stage, like It was so great, and he looked good, and I
He
just
looks
was
so good.
so
The buzz
good.
cut,
Mm,
buzz cut's great on him. I also like the fact that it anybody could have done that segment and it would have still worked. There wasn't anything very specific to like his weight or anything. It was just like
exactly.
purely you were beloved. Everyone thought you were hot. Let's talk about it.
No, and that's so cool. That's such a good point because I think you and I and the rest of the people in Roses for Everybody have struggled sometimes about our language and like and the way
Hmm.
that we like talk about things or like how we get mad about it. And ultimately, we're allowed to be mad because we're being discriminated against time and time and time and time and time again. But like sometimes like we've had like great conversations where I'm just like, we should point out that they're pointing out this thing about his body weight, and then we'll talk about it and be like, you know what, like no, like are we projecting that part, are we assuming this or this, and we
Hmm.
what we want is the goal of what we saw last night, which was just talking about how hot he was, and that's it. And so like part of me is like that's great because yeah, the show like for fucking once didn't they objectified him, but it wasn't because he was fat. It
Yes.
wasn't like, but the thing is, but it was like, or I don't know, do you see what I'm saying? Like
Yeah, yeah. Like the reason why he was so beloved is the thing they don't want to talk about, which is that he was a big guy and people find big guys hot. And on top of that, I mean, it's not the only reason, but it's like it's the fact that he's something different. He was a
yes,
breath of fresh air. It's something we don't see often, and
yes.
it's the quiet part that is loud, but the show
Mm,
does not want to acknowledge that.
mm, mm. Fuck.
Yeah,
Just
it's tough. It's really tough,
tough. It's
you know.
tough. It's tough. Well, I mean, I think you and I think that he will probably go on to Paradise.
I
They
hope
didn't
so.
invite him, but of course, I think he probably
Also,
will.
it's just weird to me that they're announcing Paradise people now. It's a whole year, unless they're gonna film like January 2025. But
Could you
like,
imagine?
it's a whole. Do you really? I'm sorry, Jonathan's gonna be single for a year,
I know. Actually, was yeah. One of the Jesse was like, "If you're still single, we would like to." And I was
man.
like,
Because I would raise my hand, great, immediately.
"Oh my
Have a
god."
fun night with Jonathan.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I think it's very interesting. It's also interesting because now you've got these girls who are signing up for grant season and they probably already have in their idea, well, maybe I can meet Jonathan on Paradise. Maybe I can meet Brett on Paradise or whatever, like
Yeah. I mean, amen. Okay, 10,000 people.
that's crazy.
Love it. Love to see it. Love to see it. They announced that everyone's been uh signing up, and I love it so much. I wrote on one of his posts, I said I'm a lesbian but I want to apply, and I got like 150 likes. It was so funny. People were just like lolling, and I was like, yeah,
Love
I
it.
know.
He's hot.
He's
He's
not
he's he's one of our most handsome bachelors that we've had.
truly
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
oh my god. So yeah, he had his little hot seat and did great. I mean, there really wasn't
Yeah.
much to report, but I'm grateful that they did that after kind of the weird announcement. You know,
Yeah.
meh.
It was a little weird, but I mean, yeah, I'm curious to know the reasoning behind it. I wonder, I'm just curious, just from like I work in television, like on the corporate side. So there's decisions behind these types of things. And I'm just really curious to know why they do it so quickly instead of waiting to the men tell all.
Mm.
Um,
They
I know they
claimed
were
that they
saying,
wanted to be, yeah, they wanted more people to apply, and if that's true, then I
yes,
guess it's true. Like they're saying a lot of people applied. I mean, should we believe them? I don't know. I want to believe them.
I want to believe them as well, and that's the thing. I feel like a lot of people blew it a little bit out of proportion. Like
Hmm.
like a lot of people had like their pitchforks, like, oh my
Hmm.
God, how dare they roll it out? Like it became this thing where the narrative was more about the poor rollout than the fact that we were getting our second Black Bachelor. And
Hmm.
it took away from this really momentous moment. And it's like, okay, I understand you may not like how it rolled out, but let's like not lose focus here and we still have time. And when I look back at how previous bachelors were announced, it really wasn't that much different from Grant, to be honest. Like, it really wasn't. It was like a post on social media. Yeah, they had an interview on GMA, and that's kind of it. Like, your photo shoots, all that stuff doesn't happen until later on. So,
Exactly. I really do think people need to remember that because I saw fights about it in the comment sections, and then somebody was like, they don't do the photos until way later,
yeah,
like at all.
yeah.
Like, come on, like. It's fine.
Yeah,
So
I think
like,
Clayton was like the one exception where they had a photo ready for him like immediately.
mhm.
But again, like they didn't have one ready for Hannah Brown, and she was someone that was picked like late. Like
Exactly.
she
Yeah.
wasn't a final four, but
Right. Right.
I think they announced her at Women's Hello or
Who
finale.
knows? I
Maybe it
mean,
was
who even
finale.
knows? Yeah.
It was probably finale. But anyways, yeah, I think I understand why people felt the need to mention it. I get it. But I also feel like it sucked so much air out of the conversation where it should have been more joyous
Yeah.
surrounding Grant. Like it's
Yeah.
like, hey, just like lift him up and let not take away from this moment because this is really fantastic. I mean, our second Black Bachelor after all this time, like it took them long enough. Um,
And it is like it also just made sense. Like
yeah,
like
I agree.
we didn't know Matt James from a hole in the wall, and uh, it doesn't mean that he didn't deserve that spot either. But like like the show clearly did some weird shit.
He wasn't a good bachelor. I will say it. Like he wasn't a good bachelor. It's truly every day I'm shocked that him and Rachel are still together. I'm like,
It's
wow,
wild. They just went to a wedding this weekend.
crazy.
They look gorgeous together. I'm like, okay, all right.
Amazing how it's amazing how you can just kind of like forgive antebellum parties. That's amazing.
Just
I
wild.
just
I mean, with a mom like Patty, it's not too surprising to me,
oh,
to be honest, because that
oh,
girlfriend is like, she's like buying Trump cards. Like, it's fucked up,
absolutely.
man.
He's
It's like,
enrolling in Trump University if she could.
woo! It's like,
Yeah.
girl, he's not gonna pick you. Okay, so I guess the other the main thing of the main thing was,
Sam.
god damn, that was smooth as hell for me. Okay, let's talk about Sam. I mean, what can be
Mm.
said that hasn't been said? But I loved it. Okay, and maybe like this is where I turn off my like critical brain, and I'm just like, yeah, bring him up on both the screens. Let me fucking see her deck his ass, like drag him. Like I don't care if he
It
has
was
mental
good.
health issues. I don't, like
Yeah.
I care, but like I'm just like, yeah, like
This what Jen brought, this is the Jen that I wish I would have seen more during the season. This is the Jen
right,
I wanted when those two crusty men decided to make this shit about them when it's not about them, it's about her.
yeah.
That energy was the read, the drag that she did. No notes,
Mm-hmm.
perfection, 10
Mm-hmm.
chef's kiss, the
Mm-hmm.
way that she just hit every single point perfectly, and he couldn't respond to that because and she straight up was like, instead of you taking accountability for the things you did on screen that were accurate, the person on screen is the person I saw in person. You decided to have your friends and your family over here defending you like a fucking bitch that you are.
It was so great. She's like, you had the audacity to blame the show, the
No,
producers, the
it's
edit. She was
good.
like, she said all of it. She did not care. And he just was like, yeah.
And I loved how she did it because it was such a artful drag. Like she kept emotions out of it. Like because that's one thing. Like I think like for example, like when Katie had to confront Greg,
Mm,
she was just still so angry and so emotional. It just backfired for her, right?
yes.
But Jen, she came out knowing exactly what she wanted to say, and she stayed even the whole time.
Yeah, she really did. Yeah, there was like no. And like, I mean, thank God they didn't make them sit next to each other.
Oh God.
So thank you. Thank you for whoever did that. But yeah, he didn't even have anything to say. Like
Yeah, he couldn't.
he couldn't. And when he went on to like earlier when he was talking to the men about it and he did go up on the hot seat, he just was trying to give some weird bullshit answers, but like
Mm-mm.
they just didn't, no one let him up. Like no one, they just kept
He's
being
full of
like,
shit.
no, 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 no. You said she was dull, and he's like, well, the eyes. It's like, no, that's not what that's about. And then I love this when he's like, and listen, you fucking said Maria or Daisy. Like, do you? And then he dug himself the deepest hole ever. Like, he's like, well, yeah, like everyone here would have thought it was Daisy or Maria. It's like, oh my God. And then he's like, you know what? And I didn't even really like either of those broads. It's like everyone
It's
was
like,
like, why are you here?
shut up. I mean, one of the guys was like, there's certain things that you may think that you should just not say, sir. Like, you just need to keep your mouth closed.
Oh my
My biggest
God.
fear, which I'm pretty sure is going to happen, is that they put him on Paradise for a redemption arc.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
gonna do it. I feel like they will because like and in the grand scheme of villains, he is pretty harmless compared to a lot of other
Right.
ones we've had.
No, yeah, he's
And
just dumb.
and also he looks like he was made in a bachelor factory. Like the women, I'm sorry, the women in Bachelor Nation will go crazy over him. He will be on that beach and he will be highly sought after because some of these girls are dumb. So
So true. I know, it's real. It's so fucking real and it's scary. I just could not. I know the fact that there was like comparisons to him and Tyler Cameron originally. I'm like,
I know, and I feel bad because I did that at first, and I was like, I'm so sorry, Tyler Cameron, that I did
yeah.
this to you
He should
because
he should also
woo,
sue him, and Pete Davidson should get together.
he should sue too. Yeah, but it's funny when you look at Sam because he's like a mix of Tyler, Sean Booth. There was another one, oh God, that someone was like, he looks like, and it's bothering me that I can't remember. There was like another Southern guy with facial hair.
Mhm.
Maybe it was a
Mhm.
little Nick Viall too. I don't remember.
Yeah, I can't quite remember. There, I mean, a lot of them looked a lot.
Oh, maybe it was Chris Soules. He literally looks like 4 or 5 Bachelor guys mashed up together.
Oh, the Chris Soules. I see it in it.
Yes, yeah,
Ooh,
crazy,
yikesy.
right?
Well, and
Because the thing is,
he looks like he should be on JoJo Fletcher's season.
oh my God, yeah, absolutely.
Like,
Oh yeah, I think
period.
they put a picture of Jordan too, and he kind of looked a little bit like Jordan as well.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Jags,
because like
yeah.
with Tyler, I don't think he looks like Tyler. I think at first his mannerisms, like the way he talked, and the fact that he was a construction worker,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
his like really intense chemistry with Jen to begin with,
Yeah.
felt very like Tyler, but then Tyler had a little bit more depth to him. I don't know. I
Yeah.
This might be an unpopular opinion, but I really do think he fell in love with Hannah. And I think it fucked him up real bad when she chose Jed.
Yeah, I mean, I think they were both like trauma bonding all over each other, and
Absolutely.
and then they trauma bonded when the pandemic started, and
Yeah,
yeah, agreed. And like,
absolutely.
but yeah, I know I see the comparisons as far as like also like soft spoken and like
Yes.
just like tall, blonde,
Mm-hmm.
stereotypically attractive, but like I never liked his personality, and he was such a douchebag, and like
He was.
he just continued to be a douchebag. I'm aiming to Jen, just totally dragging him and telling him he needs to fucking figure it out. Oh, and then all the men were like, he just keeps saying shit. He doesn't know
And it
what
means
he means.
nothing. He's just saying like words are coming out of his mouth and they mean nothing.
Oh my God. And then I would be remiss if I didn't mention that Spencer or somebody, no, it was Jeremy, I think, was like, have you guys ever seen Mean
Mean
Girls?
Girls. I really appreciated the Mean Girls reference from Jeremy. I'm telling you, that whole like I was looking at him during that mental law. I said,
Well,
Jeremy, you are in New York City, aren't you? Let me find you.
yeah, I know he really brought it. I can't wait to see
He
him on
did.
Paradise.
Oh
And
yeah, he'll be there.
yeah, and for the gays out there, that is incredibly gay reference. Regina George is like canonically and non-canonically a lesbian, and it's just like the concept of being
Do you
like,
think Sam was secretly attracted to Devin? Is that what
yeah,
you're going?
absolutely. All season, I've been like, just kiss him already. You
That's
guys
what
are
you. I mean,
both conservative.
that's a love story I would have gotten down with.
Yeah, no, I'm kidding around, y'all, but like
Yeah.
yeah, it's one of those, like there was a couple relationships this year that were like, you guys are a little obsessed with each other. And case in point, Thomas, like still simping for Sam publicly. And I'm like, buddy, it's okay. He doesn't care about you. You are like, what? I'll do whatever you want me to do. And it's just like, this is not what you think it is.
I know. I
And
do like that Jen called Thomas out on that when he was
yeah.
like, she was like, "Hey, we connected on our shared background very early on, and we could have developed like a really strong connection, and you just like you got distracted with the drama in the house. Like how like she's like, never in my life have I seen someone pull a contestant and not a bachelorette. Like, what are you doing? Like
Again, I mean, that's not anything, but it's just like everyone's a little two steps with each other, obsessed with each other. Like, come
it's
on,
weird.
it's
And not
weird.
in a good way. Like that's one thing I liked about Charity season, yeah, it had a little bit of drama, but the men really got along very well.
Mhm.
And I think that helps when you have that harmony in the house. So it's like you can actually focus on falling in love with the lead instead of all the bullshit that's happening in the house. That's why you're able to see like Charity Dot and Joey like hang out very easily, you know?
So beautiful, yeah. Ah,
And that's
good
always to me, that's
vibes.
always the biggest indicator of having like Charity. has such good taste in men, right? Because she picked a top two who were very emotionally available, very secure in themselves, to the point that they still were able to maintain a friendship after she like dumped one of them and picked the other.
God, we really didn't know what we had till it's done, right?
I'm
Like it
telling
truly
you,
is. And like and that was actually a huge I love Charity season, and I still
it's so
actually
good.
remember watching. I had to like watch the finale the next day for some reason, and I was doing it at work on my fucking iPhone, and I was like pausing it to screen record myself crying during their proposal. It was like so good.
Beautiful.
And I was not yet aware of the magic that Joey was gonna bring to
Mhm.
me. And but recently everyone go to the date card pod at TikTok. I recently reposted, so you can just like go to the repost and see. And somebody like recently just like put basically the whole scene of Joey getting dumped by her on the proposal,
Oh, I have
and
to
it
watch
was
that.
so emotional. And I was just like,
Beautiful.
well, I didn't even know. Like I was so focused on Dotton, I didn't even think about how sweet Joey was. Like so fucking in love with her. It was crazy.
It was a very sweet breakup. I so again, while I was struggling through these fantasy suites, I went back and watched clips of Joey and Charity because I was like, again, I'm not trying to go too hard on Jen, but I was like, I kind of needed the palate cleanse of a very good Bachelorette.
Yeah, I absolutely. Yeah, I
and
know.
and Charity was just stellar.
Yeah, she
Stellar, stellar, stellar.
was.
And her conversations with Joey, it was just, and the way that Joey like would make space for her, and like you can just tell he cared so deeply for her and she cared deeply for him.
Yeah.
But like they were like you would see them both get emotional in conversations. I just feel like we're not seeing this in this season, and that's very difficult for me because it's like outside of all the bullshit, I just generally don't really see a deep connection between you and these final two. So that's why, I mean, so again, like for Charity and Dotun having this beautiful, beautiful relationship, she had a really nice one with Joey as well. And it's a testament for how great people they are that they're all still managed to like, despite having like love for each other, there's still like now Kelsey's a part of the mix and they're all like, and then you bring in like Zach and Katie, and it's like, whoa, like they're all
Yeah,
friends.
exactly. No, and yeah, because Charity was on Zach's season. It's
Yep.
like it's so crazy. That's like we really are like. Sometimes I do get in the down in the dumps about how shitty a lot of these seasons have
Yeah.
been, but it's like no, when you do take stock of it, it's like we've had some like good shit, and like Zach's season was funny as hell. Like he got COVID.
Oh,
Like I
it was
mean,
so funny. People, okay, I'm telling you, I was one of the few people who were like, this is a good season. People were so hard on Zach.
yeah,
They were like, why
me,
was he picked? We hate him. We hate him.
me, me,
What
me.
I loved about Zach is that Zach was so, he had no poker face.
Yeah,
He was very unapologetically himself. You could tell when he didn't like somebody and when he liked them.
yeah,
And you knew that it was going to be Katie pretty early. And then like sometimes you were like, maybe it's Gabby, but it was really Katie.
right, yeah,
But I appreciated that. I like someone who like can't fake it. I
yeah.
thought that was so fun to watch.
Yeah, no, so true. That's wild.
But
Oof.
anyway, but Charity was at the Men Tell All, looking
Yes.
fantastic. She is so beautiful. She's so beautiful. Her and Dotun are such a gorgeous couple, gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous couple, and they rightfully got a redo for their trip to Greece.
So
Very
good.
happy.
I was so excited. I was like,
Oh my gosh.
absolutely. Absolutely. And listen, absolutely. I'm not saying she called anyone and said, hey, we need to redo, but that's what I would have done. And regardless, they deserve it.
Absolutely. And I don't know if anyone's seen if you for one thing, if you don't follow Charity on Instagram, you need to go do that right now. She is a fantastic follow. She's so funny, she's so gorgeous, and she gives us little like behind the scenes. So if you haven't looked and seen her story, people have been like saying Dotun needs to like he's so over all these bachelor events. Like he clearly doesn't want to be here.
Okay, I
Did you
didn't see
see
this.
it?
No, I
Oh, you
didn't
didn't see
tell
it?
me.
Okay, so Dotun put it on his story and he was like, this is hilarious. He's like, y'all need to end this narrative before ABC disowns me and stops letting me come to events. But he was like, filming days are very long. It's always a good time. But he's like, I just don't have the energy to force a smile for hours just because cameras are around because I'm not a psychopath. And then
My
Charity
God.
reposted it and she was like, literally this, we were just sleepy, filming all day, probably drunk, you name it. And she's like, and if you actually know Dotun, he is just a man of simplicity and sense and doesn't fake anything. I said, isn't that what you want in a partner? Someone who is just simple
Truly.
and has sense and doesn't fake it. And I'm like, and that is why you will always be my favorite Bachelorette.
So true. She never faked it. She was always there. And you know what? And I was like, when you were saying she's a great follow because she's genuinely, I mean, who's to say? I'm sure she has opinions and thoughts. She does not give a fuck though. She does not
Hmm.
give a fuck. She got breast implants. She's doing this. She's doing that. She's going to concerts that are not like the mainstream like festivals that all the other
Hmm.
girlies go to. She's hanging out with her exes. She's doing what it's like iconic, and she really effortlessly does not give a shit about the franchise, and is like, and it's case in point is fully going forward with that Nigerian wedding
Oh, I love
and
it.
not getting it fucking filmed. I mean, maybe she'll do a filmed special as well,
Yeah.
and I hope she
I
fucking
can
does and get
see
paid. But like,
I can see a world where she does like two weddings as like
and
a
as she should,
traditional and a
exactly.
Nigerian.
Yeah, I kind of always think that was gonna happen, but like, also, I don't feel like. But if it comes push to shove, I don't think she's gonna like. She doesn't give
Yes.
a shit. It's like
Mhm.
I'm gonna fucking get married to my man, and it's
They're
so
so cute.
good. And they're like their photo shoots they've been doing
Oh my
recently.
gosh.
Oh
Such a
my
stunning couple. It's
god,
just
it's so
she,
good.
and also I recommend if you haven't listened to her interview with Two Black
Oh,
Girls.
I need to listen to that. I
Yeah.
have actually not
It's,
listened to
oh my
that.
God, it's so good because she
Yeah.
talks a little bit about this pressure of kind of being the only one left because all of the previous black leads have just like been treated so poorly by the franchise that they just want nothing to do with it.
So
Like
true.
Rachel had to distance herself,
Yeah.
Tayshia had to distance herself, Matt had to distance himself,
Michelle even.
Michelle, like Charity's like, I am the only one. And so she's like, it's difficult for me because I want to be able to pave the way that, Rachel and everyone who came before me did, but at the same time it's a heavy load to carry, seeing how they've disrespected so many people. Like, she's just listen, it's highly recommend. She really is, she's very honest about her feelings and her thoughts on the franchise,
Mhm.
and how she's kind of like trying to be a force for change within,
Yeah,
you
no,
know
I mean, case in point, like I feel like she just lives herself, and they go to these events, and like, yeah, and then they still have to like commentate on how people are perceiving them.
yes, yeah, yep, exactly.
Damn, it's really, so thank you for sharing that because I think that's just goes to show how much you're right. Like, I imagine she is having to weigh that, like the heavy is the where's the crown. Like, she really is like
Mm-hmm.
trying to live her life, but also know that she has this platform. She has this, um, mm, I was gonna say privilege. That's not the right word because it's like they like forcing her to like
Yeah.
answer for the show's like racism, etc., etc.
And it's
Like,
like you have to do all of this knowing too that you're not getting as large of a platform as your white counterparts,
right?
right?
Yeah.
It's like you have to do all of this extra work because you're, a woman of color, one of the few people of color in the franchise in a big role, a big position like this.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And you've got people who weren't even a lead with a larger following than you.
Yeah,
Why does Maria and Daisy have more followers than Cherry?
it's crazy. Yeah,
Isn't that crazy?
it's
Maybe
crazy.
even more. I haven't looked at the numbers lately, but they
Right.
might even have more than Rachel Lindsay, which would be insane if that is the case. But yeah, and that's the thing. Like, these followers translate into opportunity, into
Mm.
money. So when it just sucks, it's like she has to do all of this work and she's not really getting compensated the way that she should be.
No,
Um,
no, no. But
so
it's
I'm
like,
I'm
yeah,
grateful. I'm grateful for what you do, Charity. And if it ever becomes too much, we totally understand.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think I'm just gonna live in the space right now where I hope that she's what I perceive is that she's doing it very
Hmm.
balanced. It seems like
Yes.
she's living her life and not letting it be her whole thing, and it's coming off
Hmm.
naturally. And but she's so likable and so great, so like it's all just
Oh,
kind of working out. And I
the
will say,
best.
like, the show isn't like, while they do bring them to like these events, it's like they're a successful couple that everyone fucking loves, so that's great. Like, I don't think it has to
Mhm.
be a big deal. It doesn't seem like they're necessarily using her to like fix their racism
Thank God.
the way they used Rachel. So I'm hopeful for that. But
Is there any other men tell all moments? I know, what
not
is his
really.
name? Noah's brother Aaron had his moment. Oh God. I hate him. I mean, I know hate's a
He
strong
has me
word.
blocked. He has me blocked
No
because
way! He's blocked
yeah,
you?
he blocked me because I called him out for having a fucking massive COVID event during like the peak of COVID. He's a fucking travel
Noah, right?
nurse. Yeah, Noah, yeah. Well,
Okay.
I also don't like Aaron. So Aaron hasn't blocked me. Sorry. Noah's blocked me.
I've
Because
never
I
liked Noah. I've never
exactly.
liked him.
I never
I've
liked
never
that
liked
ass. I never liked him. And he fucking had massive events during the peak of fucking COVID. And I called him out on it and he blocked me. So when I saw his ass last night, I was like, Ozempic King? I guess I don't know. He's
Yo,
like so weird.
he I feel like ever since he left Tasha's season, he has just not been hot anymore. Like he had first he had like grown his hair out and it just did not look good. Then he had cut it off again, but then now he looks like really, really thin. And I mean, again, I don't like commenting on people's like
Mhm.
weight or whatnot, because who knows if he's like
Mhm.
dealing with something.
Mhm.
Um, but I will just say, like, I've just never he's always given me the vibes that I probably don't agree with him politically. And then also it's funny when you talk about the COVID stuff, because he also, again, I didn't notice the event thing, but I do remember in the height of COVID, he was like he was all over the place with no mask. And I'm like, you're supposed to be a fucking nurse. Like, why are you maskless?
He was
It's weird.
it was like at the peak of it. He took had a family Thanksgiving dinner. He has like 11 siblings, right, mind you. We were reminded of this when Aaron's like, "Yeah, I'm his twin of 20 other kids."
That's giving, is his family like Mormons or something? Like,
Exactly. No, I think it's like it
why are
all
there so
fucking
many of them?
tracks. It's all coming together.
Yeah.
We would not agree with
Mhm.
him, and so I was just like, whatever. But it was funny because listeners, I want you to DM me like, what do you think? What do you think the beef is that he was like dragging his brother on stage? It was iconic, and I had to give it to him for that. I was like,
I mean, he
you
was
look
also
like.
wearing a pearl necklace in solidarity, so
Ah, it's so true, but he's just like, you know what? I think, bro, like you fucking screwed the pooch on this one, and it's like
he did.
you're the reason I even brought the book into the play. Like what? And Bennett is somewhere just like sitting back with his new baby, just
Not giving a
cackling.
fuck.
Yeah, he's like, I fucking won this one, and like, yep,
I mean, you know what? One thing I will say about Bennett, like, he was serious about finding him a wife and settling down,
yep.
because right, because he end up on Paradise?
I know because
He
because he
so he got
wanted to sell SpawnCon and they wouldn't let him do it. So he
oh
said,
that's
"I'd rather." Yeah, he was like, "I had contracts for like selling things, and then like they were like, you can't sell shit while you're on Paradise. When you're within our shit, you can't do that."
oh
And
wow.
he
I don't
chose.
blame him.
Yeah, I know he chose correctly.
Yeah, because he's married,
Yeah,
right?
they have
So he met his
they're
future wife like
exactly.
immediately after. Like, they've been
Yeah,
together like since the like she
yeah,
is the person he dated right out of
yes,
the show.
yeah,
And now
exactly.
and they have a kid. Like, he seems really happy.
Yeah, and they're very
So
influencery. Like he's doing fine. Everything's
yeah, good
great
for
on
them.
on
Good for
Venice.
them.
Yeah, exactly. So he won that one, but
I mean,
yeah,
yeah, I hate to side with like a white man from Harvard, but Noah was just so fucking annoying. I was just like, I can't stand you.
so annoying. And fuck you, Aaron,
Yeah.
for giving Devin any kind of legs up on this. Everyone's
Oh,
like pro Devin because Aaron was such a
it was
tool,
because of
but
him.
yeah,
It
it
was
was
because of
because of
him.
him. Yeah,
I don't even know
so
why. I mean, I was gonna say I don't know why he even got on the show, but it was because he wants to be on Paradise,
right.
truly. Because he got on there knowing he would have to leave. He wasn't serious about it.
Yeah, so true. Mm,
Yeah, he sucked, but
he sucked.
um
Yeah, other than that, that's pretty much it. We have bloopies, and then we had a
I
spider
love
moment.
I love the bloopers, and every year I get frustrated that we don't get more of these moments where like you get to really see the contestants more, see the lead more, and like their natural habitat. I also noticed that they got rid of like the small bloopers we would have at the end of every episode. I
Yes.
used to love those because they gave you a little bit of insight into the lead. Like after the episode ended, there'd be like a small little scene with them
Yes.
and somebody, and it was always so good.
No, you're so right. Because actually, on Monday, I had some friends over watching with me. At the end of like the cliffhanger, my friend was like, "And roll the scene,"
Yes,
and then it didn't happen, and I was like, "Oh yeah," but they were
all
expecting
season.
it because we're all expecting it. So yeah,
Hmm.
that's a good
It
point.
was missing all season. Like,
Wow,
it was very, very strange. And
interesting.
I think that was another thing that I thought was made Joey's season very strong, is the way they edited it. They left in a
Yes.
lot of humor. They left in a lot of Joey's personality. He has such a
Yes.
strong personality. And
Yeah.
I believe Jen does too. So
Yeah.
it's just weird that
Yeah.
they've edited her in this way where like you didn't really get to like see her. Like all of these cute nicknames that she has for all of the guys. How come we didn't see that?
Yeah. I mean, unfortunately, and I'm as a white woman, I'm welcome to like, criticism on this, but like it just does reek a little bit of them trying to make her like a model minority like they did Matt.
Mm,
Obviously, Matt has a lot of personality. We don't have to love him as a person all the time, but like he
no,
obviously has more humor and personality, and
I
they
agree.
just were like, oh God, we have the first person of this particular group and we have to do whatever. And Jen was afraid of that, I feel like. And
Yeah,
I feel like, unfortunately, because yeah, I loved her, and everyone was just like, "Shut a clock, fuck you!" Like this is so like immature, and I was so mad originally. It was like, don't already judge her. She's fun. That's what we want. You said you wanted Maria, who is a fucking psychopath. So
absolutely.
I'm sorry, you wanted a fucking crazy person? Like, give me another crazy person. Jen's just as crazy. She's
I
just as
mean,
fucking
Hannah
good out
Brown was
there.
insane and she was fun as
Exactly.
hell.
No, but this woman of color can't do that.
Yeah,
She has to be this like fucking perfect person. And then what do you get? You and I and everyone being like, what is this season? And it's just like so fucking frustrating to me. From my personal opinion, it was just like I hate how they do that if that's
I
what's
agree.
happening.
It's like this like overcorrecting in a way.
Yeah.
It's like you want her to seem as like PC as possible, which is bullshit. But by
Bullshit.
doing that, you're basically removing all of the things that are very interesting about her.
Right.
Because like again, like when she was on Joey's season, her personality just
It's
shone. Like I mean,
great.
she and that's another thing too. Like I could tell she was so into him. Like you could just see. I don't know if maybe that environment felt maybe a little bit less pressure because she wasn't the lead and she was able
True.
to open up a little bit
True.
easier.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe
True.
that's what's going on here.
Yeah.
But regardless, editing has not done her any favors of like showing who Jen is. And we know she's fantastic.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Mm.
Fuck you,
Any thoughts
show.
about the finale promo for we've
I
got 3 hours
mean,
next week.
oh God, Lord have mercy. On Tuesday, everybody. Yeah, I am still delusional, and the previews gave me even more delusion. She's gonna just say no, thank you,
I hope
and
so.
I don't. For everyone following the Jane on of it all, I don't think she's going to like come out on season, but I will hold a candle for a a soon a soon, yeah, that's my hope, because she's going that path, like whether it happens now or later, she's realizing more and more that men aren't shit, and it will all work out. And so but realistically, my hope is I do hope she just doesn't get engaged and she leaves the season
I think
on her own.
I think she picks someone, but I don't think they're still together.
Yeah,
I
that's the
think
other alternative.
that's what I think. I really I will find it very hard to believe she's still
Yeah.
with that person.
Yeah, same. Yeah. Truly, yeah. Like, and yeah, and I
And
don't
like
look forward to it. I don't look
and
forward
for
to it.
me, it's like if she let's say she picks Devin, I'm just kind of shocked, right? I'm like, how did this not come up in your conversations?
I know. She told me. She told me personally on the call, her daddy. She said, I asked my fantasy suites who they voted for and what their credit score was. And I had DMs today saying, Jenna, what do you think that means? Because
Maybe he lied.
I know that's the thing, is he could have lied, and he apparently owns a business, so his credit score is probably fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, I did clock all of the designer jewelry he was wearing. He had a Cartier Love bracelet. For those who don't know, that bracelet's like tens of thousands of dollars, and he had a David Yurman bracelet on as well. So I noticed those and I was like, okay,
Oh,
well,
oh,
seems like Devin's doing well for himself financially.
yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, he could have lied. Or he could have just been like, "Oh, I didn't vote." I don't know.
Which honestly he might not have, but it doesn't make any of the likes and the things that he
Yes.
was supporting any less bullshit. He's transphobic, he's anti-immigration, he's
Mhm.
a COVID denier, like basically like it's like insane. So I don't Trump is almost like the least of my worries. Like
Yeah,
everyone on this fucking
disgusting.
show is like the Trump host at this point in my life. So it's like it's more of like how the other parts of your life that I'm a little worried about. And
But also it's because they go hand in hand, right? Because oftentimes when you are a Trump supporter, you're believing in all these crazy,
exactly.
crazy things.
Yeah. So I'm just like, yeah, fuck you, dude. Like,
Yeah.
fuck
It's
you.
gonna be interesting. I might normally I watch on Hulu the next day, but I might have to tune in live for this one because
Yeah, I think we all need to I think we all
curious.
need to see how it ends up because it's I mean for better or for worse, I will say like I am on the edge of my seat because I'm horrified. But
Yep. I want to know how they handle Marcus. I'm very curious how you handle that because there's nothing
mhm,
technically confirmed.
yeah.
So it's like, do you just not talk about it? But if that's something that I don't know. I really
But
don't
then
know how they
if she chooses Devin, will they do another Garrett situation? Bring him on
mm.
stage like they did with Becca Kufrin and they say and he goes, oh, that's not who I am. I
Or if she picked him and they broke up, does she say I had to break up with him because he's a fucking Trump supporter?
like seriously, okay, there is still hope, y'all. Like that
Yeah.
could be the outcome, and I
That'd be great. That'd be
live
great.
for that.
I would live for that. Actually, drag
Uh,
him the way she dragged Sam, drag his ass.
please,
Like we do
please,
not agree with
please,
politically.
prove I'm wrong.
And it's because you embarrassed me, motherfucker.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's what I'm saying. Like I have to believe that song means something, and it's like one of these two douchebags. She's like trying to tell me I'm gonna drag them because they embarrassed me. I went through this entire thing and they lied to me in some capacity.
Cassidy, both of them. Yeah,
So
absolutely. Yeah, well, it's gonna be interesting.
we'll fucking see. Well, thank you so much. You're a trooper because you watched all of this television just for me and for this conversation.
No, I appreciate it because if I didn't have the pod, I probably would have never finished Gen season. I was listeners, I was behind. I didn't watch I had to watch Hometowns and the two episodes for this week. So I've consumed like almost 5 hours of Bachelorette content, and when the season isn't that good, it's that's very difficult.
It's incredibly difficult and unnecessary and a hate crime, I'm pretty sure,
Oh yeah,
in 50
absolutely.
states. So I really appreciate you. I really do.
No, I thank you.
Yeah, we always have the best conversations. I feel like, so I'm like not even kidding. Every time we podcast together, we literally don't even. I'm like, we don't even have to like. I mean, you took notes, but like, I'm just like, let's just have a conversation.
I know
Ah,
I'm sure they enjoy our stream of consciousness because I think we like talked about like 5 different seasons of The Bachelor
I
in
know.
this.
I was like, I'm gonna title this like, we're still on Joe's season. We've not left.
Yep, we have not left. We've not left Joey season, Charity season, Zach season, Hannah B season. Like,
We're
but
still
it's just
living in the past.
history keeps on repeating itself in many different ways.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's
And that's why I
interesting.
love to talk about it. So, well, thank you so much again. Should people follow you, see your hot little OTTDs?
Oh, thanks. I do it for my followers, No, yeah, if anyone wants to see my life in, New York City, it's Epiphany, EPIPHANY, XIANN. Like Jenna mentioned, when I do leave my house every once in a while, I snap a little outfit of the day pic. So,
It's very
um,
fire. I love
yeah,
it. Yeah,
thanks.
and I'm hoping one day you'll meet a bachelor person and fall in love with them.
I don't, oh, only if it's someone worthwhile, which there aren't many.
I'm holding out hope for Jeremy at this point. Oh my god, I'm so obsessed. Thank you so much again, and thank you all for listening. We're close there, y'all. We're there. Next week's the finale. Again, it's on Tuesday, and I'll record an episode on Wednesday and drop it eventually. And then I'm probably gonna do an after season wrap up because I just think there's a lot to be said about this season, and I think that whatever happens and as next week progresses, will still need to be talked about. So stay tuned for that. And then we have the Golden Bachelorette.
Woo!
Woo! Let's go. So yeah, everybody, thank you. Stay well, drink some water, and stay gay.